The shelf life of ammunition and military hardware. Let's take the example of the Soviet 7.62 by 39 mm rifle cartridge. In standard warehouse conditions, its maximum shelf life is 15 years. If the ammunition crates are sealed and stored properly, the shelf life can extend up to 30 years. Now let's consider the shelf life of a firearm itself. Unlike ammunition, guns don't necessarily expire due to rusting or component failure. Rather, their accuracy degrades over time. Prolonged and excessive firing causes the gun barrel to heat up, leading to slight deformations. Additionally, the high volume of rounds fired eventually wears down the rifling inside the barrel, significantly reducing the firearm's overall accuracy, thus rendering it obsolete. Generally, a standard firearm is considered expired after firing 10,000 rounds, while military-grade firearms may last up to 100,000 rounds, enough to sustain through a full-scale war. Moving on to artillery shells, their shelf life is slightly longer than that of small arms ammunition. Most conventional large-caliber artillery rounds have a shelf life of 20 years, during which they are required to maintain a 100% success rate upon firing and deliver the intended level of destructive effect with precision. Finally, let's examine the shelf life of missiles. Generally, the more expensive the ordnance, the longer its shelf life. Most modern missiles have a shelf life of around 30 years, with many countries still utilizing their Cold War-era missile stockpiles. The extended shelf life of missiles is attributed to their high cost, leading to superior design and maintenance practices. For instance, missiles often contain higher-grade explosives and are typically stored in nitrogen environments, similar to how many modern foods are preserved using nitrogen gas to extend their freshness. One interesting point to consider is how expired military hardware is typically handled. In most cases, expired ordnance is not entirely unusable. It may simply have a reduced success rate, say from 100% to 90%. While major military powers may not find such hardware acceptable, it can be exported and sold at discounted prices to other countries, particularly in the Middle East or Africa, where such considerations are less critical. If the expired hardware cannot be sold or exported, it must be destroyed and disposed of properly.